Why hello, greetings and salutations to every single one of my lovelies who may be joining me today. I recently had the absolute pleasure of getting to play a nifty little game by the name of Indigo Park, and wish to conjure up something special to go along with it. Now, for those of you who may not be aware of exactly what Indigo Park is, allow me the opportunity of enlightening you, my sweet summer child. So Indigo Park is a game that can probably fall under the mascot horror genre, where the player is tasked with restoring life to a spooky, yet albeit cool and fancy, abandoned theme park, inhabited only by its now corrupted mascot residents, with the assistance of your quirky critter colleague, known as Rambly Raccoon. Now, in all honesty, I didn't originally care too much for this game, not really knowing much about it, and just kind of assuming it was just another mascot horror game. However, I did experience a change of heart upon watching some other people play the game, which, respectfully, influenced me to play it in celebration of Halloween this year. And let me tell you, in my personal opinion, Indigo Park is hands down one of the absolute best mascot horror games I have seen in a very long time. It genuinely feels like it's achieved a good balance between its horror elements in addition to its creative elements. I mean, yes, the game definitely has its rather unsettling and scary moments, as any horror game should, of course. However, it doesn't seem to be as heavily focused on the scary, spooky stuff as other games within its genre, and instead giving other more artistic, creative even, aspects of the game, such as the visuals, the music, the characters, and the story, an equal amount of time in the spotlight, which is honestly one of the big things that really sold me on this game. In my opinion, the aesthetics and visual art direction are simply to die for. I simply love the cute, cartoony, visual aesthetic that the game goes for. The soundtrack, which is somewhat limited, absolutely rocks. The characters, when they aren't corrupted to high heaven that is, are absolutely full of life and whimsy and wonder, along with the fictional world that was created for them. And the story is pretty good so far as well. Now, this may or may not just be me. However, I also find this game to be a rather genius marketing scheme. But anyways, why not we touch upon today's featured drawing, done in commemoration of this recent development. So as I previously mentioned, I wanted to draw up something special to go along with my recent playthrough of Indigo Park, aka Fluffy Bunny, my Indigo Park OC. Now, I went with a bunny because, in all honesty, that was the first animal that came to my mind when I was thinking about what animal I wanted this character to be. And looking back on it now, I'm actually really glad I followed through with that. For one thing, most of the Indigo Park cast are consistent of non-domesticated wild animals versus, well, more domesticated animals like dogs, cats, fish, hamsters, guinea pigs, what have you. You know, your average household critters, essentially. Not to mention, I myself grew up with a lot more cartoons that either mainly featured or just completely featured bunnies as its characters. So with all of that in mind, the decision to make this character a bunny in herself makes a lot more sense, which is rather pleasant in my opinion. I also wanted to make her little quirk or special thing or whatever you want to call it You know, something a little creative and or art related. So I tried to incorporate that into her design as well, in addition to incorporating some of my own personal features into her design as well. So that way she looks more like me and not just some random bunny character. I also could not help but notice that the characters in Indigo Park have names that, typically speaking, follow some sort of rhyming pattern, such as Rambly Raccoon, Molly Macaw, and Lloyd Lion, to name a few. And after giving it some thought, I eventually went with the name Fluffy Bunny because of how absolutely positively original and creative that name is. In addition to it following that rhyming rule that I had mentioned. And now, before we bring today's broadcast to a close, for any of you who may be interested, I very, very highly recommend you go check out and maybe even support Indigo Park and its development. The game itself is currently available to play for free, mind you, on Steam. And for those of you who cannot play the game itself, there are, as a matter of fact, several individuals, myself included actually, who have ever so graciously shared their experience playing the game for your viewing pleasure. Now, I do hope you enjoyed your time spent with me today. As always, thank you ever so much for joining me, and I wish every last one of you a very pleasant rest of your day or evening.